Good evening.
This is it, man.
I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. Notice of the regular meeting of September 27th, 2017. This is a continuation from the workshop that we had at 4 p.m. Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the District to be held at 105 Port Road, Port Isabel, Texas, on the 27th day of September 2017 at the hour of 5:30 p.m. for consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the district on September 21st, 2017 at 4:15 p.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551-041-551-050, not less than 72 hours prior to the time of the said meeting. We do have the presence of a quorum. Present at this time we have D. Wells, S. Friedman, and R. Wells. We've already done the Pledge of Allegiance, so we will continue to move on with this. Item number 3 is the invitation to the audience for public comments. That includes the staff and the board and the audience at this time. If you please come forward to the podium and state your name for the record.
My name is Fred Bodie. I'm with Four Sons Lawn Care Services, and I'm bidding on the project of doing the cleanup for all 21 properties that you have on with the water district. Okay. Can we go ahead and speak about it now, or do I have to wait until item 21 comes up?
Either or, I don't know.
We cannot.
We cannot.
No, yes, I understand.
Purposes.
I'm here to represent my company, Four Sons Lawn Care Services. I know you can't give me a feedback right away because of the bid and the way you folks do something, the way you guys do things. I just want to be you gentlemen to be rest assured that the company that I own, we've been at it for 12 years. The bid that I place is for everything. Everything's included, from mowing, edging, trimming, trees, the works, the whole 9 yards. We're a home-based family. We're a humble family. I'm from here. I'm from Port Isabel, and I was raised here. I came back and I raised my kids here, my family here. So on my behalf of myself and Four Sons Lawn Care Services, I just wish that you folks and everybody else here that has to do something with the green of the bid and the price, that I've been given a fair opportunity, chance to prove what we have to offer you folks. I have 3 letters of recommendation from 3 different companies that have also pitched in to try to help me get this position. But it all depends on the way you do things, and I'll agree by it and I'll stand by it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you kindly for your time.
Robert.
Mr. Vella, how are you?
My name is Robert Villa. I'm a lifetime resident of Port Isabel, 31 years employed here in the Water District, and also a board member. Today, what I want to ask is, so you can look into it, I have some questions. I need to ask the board and the staff if it is true that the water plant is being operated by D-licensed operators on shifts of scheduled rotations by themselves. If the answer is yes, since the company serves more than 250 connections, it is not allowed according to the rules and regulations of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, or TCQ for short. If the answer is no, under public records, can we check the schedule charts to make sure that it's not happening? Having a D-licensed operator operating a plant alone is like having a non-CDL driver driving the bus. It can be done, but it's not allowed. So I just want to inquire, see if you can get me an answer, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Can we ask somebody?
No.
No.
That's right now. Is anything else at this time? Anyone else like to discuss anything? Okay. Thank you kindly for your time. Moving on to item number 4, consider and approve the minutes of the special meeting on September 5th, 2017. Everyone had a chance to review their minutes. Questions or comments about them?
I read them. I move to approve. Second.
Motion made by D. Wells, seconded by R. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item number 5, administering the oath of office for the Laguna Madre Water District newly appointed board of directors, Mr. Herb Houston Jr., place 3, and Mr. Alex Avalos, place 4. I'd like to welcome both of these gentlemen to the board. I think they will be a great asset. I think they well represent the community, and they have the experience to serve on this board. Welcome, gentlemen. At this time.
Okay. Cool.
I didn't even see him.
Cool.
more up here. And then, you're gonna be, sworn in.
Carlos?
A Republican swearing in or Democrat?
Yeah, that's why. Oh, there is love in the air.
Well, that ain't love.
Well, I don't mean that way, but I mean there's harmony in the air, I should say. Hi, Judge, welcome. How are you? Nice to see you.
You don't know me, I'm Judge Benny Ochoa, the second judge of the Guatemala area. And you know me in case you get a vacation, now you know today.
Are you running again?
I'm gonna say it, Judge. Yeah. So before I turn in, yeah, don't think you'll be elected. They want to know, are you gonna retire, Judge? I said, I'm 56 years old, and Sheriff Lucio is 82 years old. So that's 20 years ago. That's what I have to say. The name of the authority of the state of Texas, repeat your name. I,
Herb Houston,
Junior, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute
faithfully execute
the duties
the duties
of the office
of the office
of the Guatemala Water District,
of the Guatemala Water District,
Phase 3,
Phase 3,
of the state of Texas,
State of Texas,
as well to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
to serve, protect, and defend the Constitution
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution
and the law
and the law
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of the state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Of the authority vested in me as a trained judge, I serve Francis, Director, Kevin County, Guatemala District Number 2. Congratulations.
Welcome, Mr. Houston. It's a pleasure to be serving with you.
I'll wait for the honorable judge to finish. Go ahead. Well, while he does that, thank you, Alex, for asking me to swear you in. One of the perks of being a former secretary is that you can get to swear in people. I can't marry anybody. And I thought when the judge was finishing up by the power vested in me, I thought he was going to...
Susie wasn't here.
I don't know what was going on. But it's an honor good to see you all.
Good to see you.
Thank you for being here,
It's an honor
Judge.
to be here and to swear at Alex. And it's good to see you all again. It's great to be back. Please raise your right hand. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I state your name.
Alex Alvarez,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office
of the office
of Laguna Madre Water District Board of Directors, Place 4,
of the Guatemala Water District Board of Directors,
Place 4, of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Avalos. It's a pleasure to be serving with you on this board and looking forward. Thank you for your time and dedication.
Carlos, do you have
Thank
any,
Judge Benny
do you have any
and-
election announcements?
Not yet.
I want to thank
Stay tuned.
Judge Benny and Carlos both for coming and doing the swearing in. Thank you for being a part of our evening. Think highly of you both gentlemen.
Especially his wife. She's very nice.
Who's the one?
Your wife.
Oh, yeah, she's nice.
I mean, you did well, as I.
I married above my
Yeah.
status.
Okay, I have a request to, thank you, Carlos, appreciate your time and look forward to future endeavors.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Announcements.
I've been asked and requested to move item number 24 to the front of the line. If there are any objections, I'd like to move that to the, up to item, in front of item, after item number 5.
No objection.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
I just got a hold of the attorney.
Yes?
I'm not gonna be able to make it, he's in Houston in an emergency.
Uh-oh.
We'll do without.
Okay, we'll roll with that as it goes. Rolando? Moving forward, item number 24, consider and discuss annexation committee meeting regarding annexation of the town of Laguna Vista property located on State Highway 100 south of Laguna Vista original town site. Welcome, feel free to state your name, Rolando. For the
I'm Rolando Vela. I serve as the city manager for the town of Laguna Vista. On behalf of the mayor, Mayor Houston, and the council members, we want to thank you for allowing us to be here. We had made the request to Mr. Ortiz to place us on the agenda. As you may have heard, the town has been working with the county on this visitor center. It's going to be built on the town-owned 23 acres, the front 100. And currently, these 23 acres are not part of the district. So,
property is south of, on the south side of
Correct.
100.
correct. The county commissioners met last week, and they preliminarily approved a site plan of where the visitor center will be, which will be on the east side of this 23 acres. And so what I did is ask that, respectfully request that you consider initiating a process to get this property annexed, and that you consider waiving all associated fees with this annexation. And I understand that there's an ordinance.
At the committee, meeting, we're gonna address the meeting time, and then we're gonna address everything that goes with it.
So right now, he's just given his presentation of his
Correct.
request, but you're saying that that will be addressed.
Everything else will be discussed,
Well-
we can just go to the committee meeting, schedule, and, I think that'll take care of it.
Well, let's hear his push to the board first, and then you tell us when the committee's going to meet and make recommendations. Is that correct?
Well, it doesn't look like it just says, annexation committee meeting, regarding, so I think we need a committee to, before he addresses anything to the board. That's my
I'm confused
recommendation.
now.
I know the attorney's not here today, but we can address all that, at the committee meeting.
So,
But that meeting hasn't been set.
so do we have a wrong agenda item description?
Discuss annexation committee meeting.
Oh.
That's the reason I'm saying.
And is that to set the
So-
date and time and...
So we can still hear his presentation, request of annexation without the particulars, and then we can discuss
Right.
the,
Then we
get
can
the
bring it up to the board later on.
committee moving with recommendations. We don't want to waste your trip, we want to hear from you.
Okay. Laguna Vista is going through this transformative process. We're seeing growth, residential areas, and in fact, we've seen 24 new houses built this year. Last year there were 10 houses, the year before there were 18. A lot of activity, we've seen increases in building permit fees, all areas. Laguna Vista is growing, and we're here because we want to be in a position, we want to be proactive. We know the growth is going to take place. We know the visitor center is going to draw people, and we know that that's going to help generate development across the street on that 56 acres that Benson family owns, and the one across the street on the 8 acres. I mean, President John Kennedy said it, a rising tide lifts all boats. And we simply want to work with you and proactively to not only annex that area, but any other area within the town that's not part of the district, that's currently not being serviced with water and sewer services. And that's something that, I know Mayor Houston is not here, she had other commitments, but I know she would have been here making this request. It's something that we feel very passionately about. And this visitor center, as I expressed at the county commissioners meeting, it's not a local project. It's not a Laguna Mita project. This is a South Texas project. This is going to generate activity throughout the region to Laguna Vista, to Visitor Center. I mean, so we're asking that you consider working with us on this annexation process, and we remain here committed to working with you.
Let me ask, and I'm not familiar with this issue or what topic, so, this is a municipal annexation, or is this a development annexation?
Well, for Laguna Madre, like, since we're a municipal utility district,
Right.
it would be they're referring to an annexation into our district to basically, we determine, like, there's
From
a
the town, the
filing fee.
municipality of the town?
Well, the town is the owner of the
Or-
property, so they would
Okay.
initiate the landowner's request to file for annexation.
And
On
we-
behalf of the landowner or behalf of... for
Well, the owner is the town of
municipal
Laguna
annex-
Vista.
Okay,
That's a
what I was-
separate question to come, during the request, but if I'm following correct, Carlos, on this agenda item now, we just need to take action as a board and recommend that the annexation committee meet and consider the request.
Right.
That simple, that
all the
basic.
details will be brought up at that time, and that way the board will be informed at another meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
And so the motion is that in process that the annexation,
This is, item
annexation,
23 is discussion.
It's actually, just asking when can you all with that, with the city of Luna Vista?
okay, I'm sorry, I was reading 24.
Well, plus, in the 6 years I've been here, we haven't gone through an annexation, so it'd be good for us to, especially we have a new board, it'd be good for us to sit down as a committee, go through policy, and try to understand what our process, is to complete the annexation.
And I think we'll need some
I
legal
rescind mine.
input on that as well.
Right,
Right.
right.
I
So,
just wanted to know if this was a municipal request or a development, or he's making a request on a developer's...
Well, in this
request.
case, the town of Laguna Vista would be the developer requesting annexation to the water
Okay,
district.
that's all I wanted, just
but right
clarification.
now, the annexation policy doesn't allow for it
Right.
without some amendments, so we're going to bring
Yeah.
come up to speed. So right now, we're we're in 23, consider and approve,
No, 24.
24.
24.
Discuss,
24, right.
consider and discuss. So we don't, it's not an action
Bring
item,
up the thing for now.
not an action, thank you for clarifying that.
A day that you all can meet with the city of Luna Vista. and-
I support that, we'll just leave it at that and move on. Good job, you convinced us.
Thank you, and on behalf of the town, I want to say that your staff has been very cooperative, very supportive. We have a very strong, positive partnership with your district, with the employees, very responsive. We work very well, and we, the town, appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rolando. And yes, the district is supportive, and you've done an excellent job, and it's good and exciting to see what's happening out there. Thank you.
We'll come back on the media and request a date for maybe tomorrow.
And the question that matter is I'm sure the fees and
Well, that's a separate matter, Right now, we just need to amend the annexation policy to even consider, it, because right now, there's nothing to be,
That's what I wanted to know.
right. There's nothing in there that allows us to take action as requested.
that, or just me and her, because we're the annexation.
When we appoint her, not,
Yeah, there's one appointee on the next agenda item.
okay, we're getting back on track now.
Moving back on to the regular agenda item, item number 6, consider and approve officers on the committee's list for the Laguna Madre Water District Board of Directors.
Okay, if we can fill in the empty spots, there's a budget committee that's one missing for, I believe Mr. Keppinger has left open there.
Yes.
We have Mr. Alex Avalos
Yeah,
in there on that one.
yeah.
And then on the insurance committee, we have Mr. Houston with Scott Friedman. And then on the professional services committee, Mr. Alex Avalos with Rick Wells.
Yeah, that's me.
And annexation committee with Mr. Houston and Mr. Rick Wells.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds
So
good.
That's all we needed, make sure that y'all are okay with it.
I got a question. Who else serves on these committees?
That's it.
You're in.
That's it.
Do you ever get the public input on?
The board members serve and the staff, like myself, general manager, the engineer, and the.
Meaning you want
finance
to
director.
post it for,
No, I was just curious if you guys ever use the general public, okay.
Depending
as
on-
long as there's not a quorum, we can
Right, it's
Okay.
only-
in-house.
So essentially, you're just replacing Mr. Houston, Mr. Avalos with their respective place that they
Right.
assumed.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Do we need to make a motion to that effect?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Motion made by R. Wells.
Second.
Seconded by D. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries, thank you. Item number 7, consider and discuss entering into negotiations for water and wastewater rehabilitation for Long Island Village.
All right, yeah, this item is just kind of an official, direction from the board as far as, today in Long Island Village, there's what, 1,024 lots, and they're all on one master meter. And at the same time, their water lines are located, along seawalls. Their goal is to get them rebuilt on the main lanes. And so this is basically, if there's going to be any way to help us facilitate, how that they can go from being 1,024, lots on one master meter versus, facilitating a way for those individual lots to get on their own meters.
I remember the conversation from before and the issues from before. I'm open to any others. Chairman, I would recommend that, if we're going to make a recommendation, that the staff work with a board member too. We don't have a committee for that, but yet I think that there should be some board members involved with this and just sit down at the table and look at the issues and then come up with some recommendations of how the district can help. And I'm not ready to buy it or pay for it, but yet I understand that there's an opportunity for the district to support the Long Island's efforts, and I think you're looking at trying to find some grant money or some funding for it or something. So that all needs to be sat down and discussed, and find out what y'all want, and then the district can look at it and handle it as anybody else would be dealt with as far as that. Right now, we don't own your infrastructure, and y'all got a bunch of meters or taps on one big meter. And so if I understand, y'all are running into issues there with equal payment or use of those different meters. I wish y'all to set in, I told the chairman earlier when we said in some presentation there, we're considering an automatic meter system that has, you can shut it off and shut it on at a simple phone call for the district with, these folks are gone and not using any water. So you get more fair equity. So there's some things that the district's looking at that might be of use for y'all to consider also. So what I'm suggesting is that the board, I don't know if we can do it under this action item, but the board discuss only express interest of sitting down and talking with them, and we certainly need the engineer and the general manager there, and sit down and with a couple of board members and say, how do we make it better for everybody?
It's a pretty big decision. I think the whole board ought to be.
Well, we need to sit down
Narrow
to make that decision.
Narrow it down.
To make that decision, yeah, but right now you need to sit down and say, what's the problem? I would want to know. Everybody wants to know, but at the same time, no two board members are going to make any promises or anything. Just a fact-finding opportunity. Because I don't know exactly what they need or want.
What I recommend is that we meet and then discuss what the needs are and what the pros and cons are. Then we'll bring it up to the whole board on another executive session or regular agenda item, one of the board meetings, so everybody can be aware. And then later on, we'll take action on whatever y'all decide, all together, not just two or us as a committee. So possibly tomorrow we can make a phone call, see when you guys can meet, or whoever's going to meet, Mr. Wells and...
No, I just spoke a lot. I wasn't volunteering. But, we have the advantage that we have a experienced developer on the board now. We have some other real estate experts here. And so, I will leave that up to you, Carlos. That's my suggestion.
So tomorrow, expect the phone
You and the
call,
chairman.
I was going to ask a question. Has legal looked at this yet?
Yes, he has.
Okay. Do we have an opinion from him?
Actually, there's no opinion on that
Okay.
one.
There's no opinion to give because we don't know exactly what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay.
This is just sit down, have coffee, and
Have us sit down and get the list
What the
going.
needs are, we don't know everything that they're requesting, so it just comes when we get together, we'll find out what the needs are, what we expect or require from them, or whatnot, whatever information we need. And, tomorrow we'll make a phone call, for us to be included.
Fit me in somewhere. Herb would do it.
Try to, we'll
think
test
Herb
our
might be a
board
good-
members, right?
Yes,
think Herb
yeah,
might be-
he got good
Herb would
background.
be a great
If
asset.
you guys are available, we'll set you guys up.
Should we set up a time right now?
Let's move on, let's do it in the,
Yeah, we have to do it till tomorrow.
We need
No, I know, that's what I mean. Should we set up a time for tomorrow?
Yeah.
time and place, and so,
I think, just think about it, and then tomorrow we'll give you a call.
I recommend that the general manager and the chairman make that decision, and then talk to us how my wife lets me do something.
And we can't make a decision right now, because it's just discussion. We could, but I think it'd be better
No.
tomorrow.
Yes, I'm not ready to say when. I need to get back and see what I need to do.
We'll get back in touch, we've got 2 more pages of agenda items,
So you wanna give us a call tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
For a meeting probably tomorrow?
Not
No,
tomorrow,
no.
set up
Not
for-
tomorrow,
no.
okay.
Probably not.
Probably next week.
It'll be next week.
Possibly next week.
Tomorrow's already Thursday, so.
I thought you were talking about having a meeting.
You guys might be not available at third time.
Yeah. It'll be sometime towards the end of next week, I'm sure.
We will make the time to talk. That's what we like.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very
We'll
much.
do the same.
Thank you, appreciate it. Moving on to item number 8, General Manager's Report. Carlos?
Okay, I do need to schedule also an orientation with new board members, Houston, and we'd like to give you an orientation of the whole district, and I'll take you out and show you where all of our buildings and sites, water treatment plants, pump stations, and,
The windshield tour.
So, I'll give you all a call tomorrow maybe, and set it up for maybe next week on Thursday.
Okay.
And then,
I'd like to go, if you go out to the river and stuff, if you're gonna go out there I'd like to go out there and just see what's going on too. If you go to, do the windshield tour out there.
Well, you can't do 3 of them.
No, you can't. I'm sorry.
But,
Count me out.
no, amend that. I'd like to go with him, because I've not really done a full tour yet. So, I'd like to see some of it, so.
Make an agenda,
I'm sorry, we have two,
Carlos.
applications.
make an agenda item for whomever on the board wants to attend this.
The public can't attend.
Huh?
Public can't attend.
We'll be waiting.
Pick up.
Right, but, this is what I have. There is 2 orientations with staff also. I want to include them in the same, trip as you guys, so we have 2 of them. So you and, Mr. Friedman can go on one and
Yes.
use it.
Sorry.
And, I'll
If you haven't seen the
also-
river pump and.
Are we looking at what do you need, a day?
A day, right, but.
One day, I mean, one whole day?
About
Half a day.
Okay.
Half a day. But, I'll call you guys tomorrow, think about it, and see what day is next week, any time next week, like, possibly like Wednesday or Thursday of next week.
Okay.
In the morning,
Set it up with the red president.
Okay. Yeah.
In the morning, yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
That's all on my part.
I have a
Any
question.
questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I got a call from somebody at the golf course last night, and, they say all the lakes have went dry behind their houses. What's going on out there? Did they quit paying for water, or what?
I haven't heard any report from them.
Because then they're saying that, well, we'll pitch in everybody around the lake, and if this new group isn't paying, are they paying them for water out there, or?
Paying for the water, they're paying for water, right? And there's no, I haven't seen any, complaints or
They've had plenty of
anything
rain.
from the.
There's no, I mean, they're on, the lake behind this person's house has 0 water in it, and she's telling me that half the lakes out there are going dry. Are they, Herb?
Some of those lakes are owned by the owners right around the lake. Some of the lakes are owned by IBC currently.
So they turned the water spigot off, or
No,
what?
obviously not buying.
IBC's not buying, and the people that do live around some of those lakes, there is one lake, I think, which Howard is, people kick in and they keep it full. But there's a couple smaller lakes that they can't seem to get.
This is behind, I'll just tell you where, because I don't know what the lake it is, it's behind Olga Vega's house. And she said there's no water. and that they will kick in, but they don't know why the water quit
Well,
flowing.
that's across the street from all
I think they need to call the owner, EC Bank,
Yeah.
Yeah, but aren't they selling it? See, that's the deal, they're selling it right now.
That lake across from McCarter's is currently being fed sometimes by effluent from the plant, the sewage plant.
If it is the last one in there, what's the address there called?
Off of Whooping Crane.
Whooping Crane? And the further, Whooping Crane goes all the way to the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of back towards the back there.
I just suggest that staff look into it, and it's brought to your attention that you take and not lose any opportunity to sell water.
And she's telling me that it's bone dry, they can't believe it.
I'll ask tomorrow because I don't have any.
I didn't know if they bought water from us, are they buying, river water from us, or, I don't know how it works.
Well, we are buying water from the district to fill them up. I don't think that, the owner, which is IBC, wants to fill them up at this time.
So is that what the deal is, IBC's quitting pumping water?
Yes.
It seems like it is.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I think what they're doing, they're bypassing the lakes to feed directly to the raw portion.
Yeah.
So they're not,
They're bypassing all the lakes.
So they're keeping the raw water in pipes versus ponds.
somebody ought to sue them. That's ridiculous. I mean,
That's an
that
HOA
lowers your
problem.
property value tremendously.
That ain't our problem.
Looking into a mud hole and you bought a place on a lake.
I don't think we can really comment on all
Okay, I'm not gonna say anything
Yeah,
else.
No, I see what
There's more IBCs.
Mr. Gavon, Mr. Baylor had a question as far as operating. Are some of these plants being currently, let me finish your question. Are some of these plants being currently operated by a de-licensed individual without supervision?
Possibly, we can answer that one. Yes, sir, we have permission from PTQ, as long as they're in training, we can operate, and as long as I have my phone with me at all times, and since I'm 24/7, they can give me a call at any time, we're allowed by PTQ to do so. I think there's only one. We have various operators in training, right now we have one in rotation.
Do you have that in writing?
We made.
From TECQ.
I don't have it in writing, but I contacted PTQ and offered.
I strongly suggest that you cover the district better than that.
Oh, okay.
Not about a letter.
Not necessary, but we'll do that. The license is, posted up there.
Excellent. Thank you. Moving to item number 9, District Engineers Report, status of Beach Boulevard water line construction and status of the wastewater treatment plant's construction.
All right, so the first update here is the water line construction on Beach Boulevard. The pipe's already installed in the ground, and it passed its pressure test, and we're just currently flushing the line just to finish out the disinfection, and then we'll start the 2 tie-ins to the system, and then connect about 80 meters to the new line. So we're pretty close to wrapping up where we're at on Beach Boulevard. And then the next one here is just giving you a status of the wastewater treatment plant's construction, because we basically have, I guess let me sort of start from, we've been working on a wastewater treatment plants under construction for the past year or so, and we have 2 contracts. One's called Wastewater Treatment Plants Rehabilitation with Ferguson Service Systems, and they're working on Isla Blanca, Anibui, and replacing a blower at Laguna Vista, and also getting the hoist and for the chlorine and dechlorination. All that was done under their contract. And that project, I mean, we're pretty much, the only parts remaining are restoring like some auto control, like some instrumentation for the chlorine and dechlorination feed, and some scales, and pretty much that job's about 90% complete. It's getting pretty close to getting wrapped up. And then we also have the second contract here at Port Isabel Sewer Plant, and that contractor is CSA Construction, and that's the the $9 million contract we have to add a new headwork for grit removal here at Port Isabel and upgrade our aeration basin. And so that one, as far as the project, we're still working on the headworks. It's mainly just concrete work at this time, and we're still going through submittals for electrical approvals and getting material like piping, fittings, and valves in place so we can start doing some of that yard piping. So materials are still on their way to arriving to site. But that's basically where we're at on those 2, on the...
But that's the contractor's responsibility,
Yeah.
getting materials, et cetera, so is he still on target for his work schedule?
Yeah, I mean, it's, we're looking at a completion date of, July or August of 2018. That's the schedule for the Port Isabel job to be finished out.
Right, but you were indicating that there's,
I'm-
you're working with schedules for material delivery, et cetera.
Yeah.
And that's really
I mean,
not the district's problem,
Correct.
other than an extension or overrun of time.
yeah, and they haven't requested contract time at this point, so they still, you know, I mean, everything
It's
indicates...
their responsibility to get
Yes.
the material in there to meet their schedule for meeting our deadline.
Correct.
Thank
Correct.
you.
Yeah, and that wraps up the report, unless there's any other questions.
No other questions? Thank you. Thank you, Charles. Move to item number 10, Director of Finance report.
The first item that I have is that we're going to start the process on the new audit, on the annual audit for fiscal year 2017. So I would like to meet with the audit committee, Mr. Freeman and Mr. Wells. Hopefully, next week, I don't know which one will be the best time for you guys. The auditors are ready whenever you may would like to meet.
Morning or early afternoon.
I can call you or send you an email tomorrow and we can get in touch on that.
Tuesday or Wednesday morning or early afternoon. Mornings are good.
Tuesday or...
You know, like at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or something.
Okay, okay. Yeah, the auditors say that this week they're going to be tied up, but next week for sure, you know, you're with that. And on the professional service committee, also I would like to meet with Mr. Wells and Mr. Aldo. We're going to start the process on the depository agreement. We've been with IBC for over 12 years already. And on CAS, RFP proposals that we requested, we didn't have any bank proposing any services. So at this time, hopefully we're going to have a better effort, you know, to make sure that we get more local banks and whoever is available, you know, interested in this project. And just keep in mind, please, that this is a process that is going to take from 8 to 10 months, you know, to do the depository agreement with all the accounts that we have and all the processes that we need to change in our system. But the first meeting, we already have the first meeting with the investing officers, you know, to make sure that we have a schedule, what is the plan, and the previous proposals, you know, updated. So we already have an RFP in process, and also next week, we'd like to meet with you guys, Mr. Avalos and Mr. Wells, and also I'll get back to you again tomorrow, so that way, you know, we can get a good time. And this is going to be, the first thing is going to be a professional regular meeting just with the staff, so we can show you everything that we are putting in place, and you can give us, you know...
So a service committee meeting for depository agreement services, that you're RFP and now preparing an RFP. If I understand correctly, you said that you're not getting much response, and so now you're trying to get better...
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you want to focus on in this meeting now, upcoming, is to go ahead and brainstorm how we can get more participation in the RFP.
Right.
Thank you.
And also just want to kind of keep you informed so that we still have a process ongoing with the FEMA audit. The 2008 Hurricane Dolly hit the district and, you know, caused some damages, and they're being requesting information, but for many reasons, you know, every time that they're about to close the project, basically since 2008, either a hurricane passes, like another thing is going on in Austin, and they're not able to finish the verification that they have with our audit. This year, they contacted us and they said that in emergency, they got the federal directive that they need to close this project. So we send the revised information, we send everything that we have available. Now it's a little bit harder, you know, because some of the information is from 2008. So we send everything that we have, and hopefully, you know, within 1 or 2 months, they should be able to close this project. And either if they owe us money, you know, they should be able to pay us, or hopefully at least close completely this project and finish this effort.
Okay, so you're saying that they were saying now that they want to hurry up and get it done, but they're not giving you a schedule of when they want to get it completed by.
Right, and I already sent them the information that we have, and they said that within 1 or 2 months, you know, they should be able to close it. And, the main person that I've been talking to, was about to get back to me, and that's when Harry passed away. So we've been in touch, and they just say, like, bear with me, but, you know, for
They're
sure,
not
they
gonna,
want to close this
they're not gonna
project.
be any freer.
And it's a lot of effort, you know, from our part, because every time that they are requesting information, many times, you know, they're requesting information that we already provide them. So, but of course, you know, now they not only, it's the state that is looking into that, but also they send this information to auditors on the site because they want to receive some help, you know, in order to finish this audit.
So you're handling it, Finance Department is handling it,
Yes.
and you've supplied all the information they needed, so now we're just gonna wait, okay? I got that part of your report, thank you.
And, on the last item, please disregard that one because that one went out before we had the schedule the workshop for the leaders.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. Off to item number 11, discussion by McCall, Parkhurst and Horton LLP on Laguna Madre Water District's upcoming bond election to be held on Tuesday, November 7th, 2017.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. For the record, my name is Noel Valdez. I'm with the law firm of McCall, Parkhurst, and Horton, and we serve as bond counsel to the district. And staff thought it'd be a good idea for me to come and introduce myself, given that we have two new board members. Welcome. And you all are joining the board during the time that the district has called a bond election to be held on November 7th. So I thought I'd come and introduce myself, introduce my firm. I come to you from our San Antonio office. We have offices in Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, 25 attorneys. The only type of practice we do, or any kind of law, the type of law we do is public finance. So we represent cities, districts, school districts, counties, all through the state of Texas. Mr. Avalos, we represent the South Padre Island as well. So I'm sure we've worked together in the past. Probably my partner, Tom Spurgeon. I did provide staff with a handout for you all to have. A lot of times questions come up. What can we say? What can we not say with regard to the bond election? So I wanted to give a real brief explanation on the prohibition against political advertising. Political advertising, in short, is state law prohibits the district in utilizing its public funds or its resources for the purposes of promoting, advocating passage or non-passage of a bond measure. And so probably the greatest resource I'll give you and let y'all know is that as questions come up, I'm in constant contact with the district in answering what can be done, what cannot be done. I will tell you probably what's on your mind is what can we say as a board. You all, because you called a bond election, you all still keep your First Amendment right to be able to speak your mind. You, on your own time, other than a time when you would be at a board, can go to meetings wherever they may be, and you can promote passage of the bond measure if that's your wish. The simplest way that I can explain what may not be done is, let's say you're invited to a meeting somewhere to discuss the bond election, and you want to go there and promote passage of the bond election because that's your stance. You're fine in doing that, but the moment, if there's still overhead projectors, the moment you stop by the district to pick up an overhead projector, you're using district resources in promotion and advocacy of the bond election. I know it's a little silly, the law. It can get very technical. This law is enforced by the Ethics Commission, but it's the law that we've had to live with, and I've advised almost 15 years with regard to this law. The biggest resource, like I said, that I can provide y'all is the staff has my phone number. And to the extent that an issue comes up, any one of you all want to see if you can or cannot do whatever be the scenario, they will get in contact with me, and I will reply very quickly. And so I have your back in that perspective. But if anybody has any questions about the bond election, about my law firm, just know that we are the ones that prepared a packet for the district advising when notices should be posted, when they should be published. We will work with staff throughout the election, and we'll provide the canvassing order for after the election. So we're really a one-stop shop when it comes to assisting you on holding your bond election, because at the end of the day, if your bond election passes, it'll have to be approved by the Texas Attorney General, the bonds will, and they will want to know and see that they have all appropriate documentation. We'll make sure that that happens.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time and coming this way. Moving to item number 12, presentation by Garver on the bond elections projects. Welcome, Ricardo.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Richard Correa with Garver for the record. First off, welcome and congratulations, Mr. Avalos, Mr. Houston. I come here tonight for a couple reasons. One is to present the projects that are up for the bond election in November, and two, just to give you all a recap of where we're currently at with these projects and the justification behind them. A little recap about myself. I've been doing work with Laguna Madre since 2005, more recently since 2013 on a continuous basis, but I'm glad to be here, and congratulations to you two for joining us. Dave, do we have a clicker? Or? All right, so this is sort of the trial run of a presentation that is set to be delivered to the surrounding communities, City Port Isabel, South Padre Island, what have you. And this is just to neutrally inform the public on the projects, the justification behind them, and then the anticipated costs for the execution of these projects. Here are a couple quick facts. This is just to inform the public on the precincts, the locations, the addresses, and then, of course, the issuance of the bonds and the total that is being requested in levying of taxes to execute these projects. More quick facts with more locations, addresses, and dates. And we tried to include some Spanish language there on the bottom as well. My Spanish is terrible, so probably have to bring somebody with me to translate more effectively. But this is the agenda for the projects, and a quick recap is that these projects are generated by the 5-year CIP that has been produced by the district. This is a refined list of unfunded capital improvements projects, so the ones that have been pushed down the road and haven't been executed. These projects are supported by previous reports, as done by a variety of consultants, and they're also supported by the state water plan, Region M in our particular instance, as recommended water management strategies. This is kind of just a rehashing in more detail as a bond project's overview. So the first project is the sludge drying beds at Water Treatment Plant number 2. So this project has been previously analyzed. There are operation and maintenance drivers and cost drivers, in addition to solids loading and handling drivers. The intent here is to provide provisions for a complete solids handling system, not just the beds themselves. So in essence, what is existing at Water Treatment Plant number 2 is a sludge lagoon, where all of the solids that are removed from the water are sent to. The design of this lagoon does not facilitate the efficient and effective removal of those accumulated solids, nor does it facilitate the drying of those solids, which is a typical standard process in the water treatment process. So the idea here is to design and construct some drying beds, much like are present at Water Treatment Plant number 1, where we can send sludge into one basin, have one on standby, stop sending sludge to that one basin, alternate, let that dry, take those solids out, and efficiently dispose of them. So, as I mentioned, this is previously analyzed. There's a report done by others that shows that there are some cost drivers associated with implementing this sort of improvement. And again, the price that was developed in the report that we were hired to do includes provisions for a complete system. So that's piping, concrete, pump station, electrical, etc. And there's a quick picture. As you can see, this is a pointer on here. Oops. Which one is the latest one of those? Oh, that's not going to work on there. This is your existing sludge pond.
With
Okay.
laser work on the screen over here.
Yeah. See this one over here. There's your existing sludge pond. You can see the dimensions do not facilitate even a large excavator removing those solids, and there's an accumulation of solids in the center of it. I think I've got some pictures in here. You can see right there. So you've got a piece of infrastructure, you're not utilizing its full capacity, nor does the way this is set up facilitate the effective drying of the solids. Yes, sir.
Go back to the next picture.
Yes, sir.
No offense, if this is the presentation we're gonna give them, you're putting me to sleep.
Okay. All right.
And so when people are wanting to know, for example, on this project,
Uh-huh.
they need to know, okay, we need the sludge drying beds, they're gonna be in here.
Yes, sir.
They need to know that we bought this property out of the district's fund specifically for that, because the existing system will not support the use that's required right now. It's a constant maintenance effort, so.
Yes, sir.
This here is designed to take and offset any cost that we're incurring now, so it's a cost-saving measure, not just an efficiency.
Yes, sir.
So without that, get into, if we don't do it, here's the consequences.
Understood.
It costs more money, yada, yada, yada.
Yes, sir.
So, that's my point, is just, don't put them to sleep.
Yes, sir.
Let them know it's gonna cost them more if we're gonna get this done,
Yes, sir.
without threatening. But,
Understood.
Strictly informative, yes, and this is the reason it's being done. I mean,
Sure.
present why it's being done, because this is so old and so filled up, and it can't be effectively done without spending more money to clean this out to the proper working depth than it would to be created the other sludge drying beds.
Yeah,
That are more easily maintained.
Well,
Correct.
yeah, it was built in '85, and at that time, the intent of those lagoons was to just let them fill up, and then you close it and build another one right next to it. So
Right, but now that land's sold around us, there's no room to do that.
Right. Well, our idea is to have concrete basins that you can alternate and
That's too much
maintain.
detail. That's my point I'm trying to make.
Sonny, you got that? You take those notes, please. Thank you for the suggestion, Mr. Wells, and I failed to mention that there's a third reason why we're doing this is because it's a trial run. So if y'all have any suggestions or comments, just as Mr. Wells suggested, please pass them along.
And we also need to, get some time to get our current new board members up to date, what the projects are, and some more in-depth,
Yes, sir.
understanding of what this is, so they can make their decisions.
Absolutely. All right, sludge holding tank at Portisville Wastewater Treatment Plant. Again, this is something that was previously analyzed. There are some TCQ compliance drivers and operation and maintenance drivers. So, in essence, you are undergoing currently a suite of improvements at the Portisville Wastewater Treatment Plant to improve that process, namely grit removal, fine bubble diffuser aerators. So, in order to remain TCQ compliant at that facility, we have to have a sludge holding tank. And so what we've done is prepared a cost estimate for that tank, for implementing one tank, to remain TCQ compliant. There are also some operation and maintenance drivers. Decanting without this sludge holding tank is very difficult for your operators to currently undertake. And it also provides an overloading of your existing drying beds without the sludge holding tank as well. Your current loading at the plant is at half capacity. As we continue to grow in the district, we will meet that capacity and we'll have to have a place to send that sludge. And then redundancy drivers as well. The ideal situation is 2. Right now we're trying to get 1 so that we're TCQ compliant and so that we can make the operations of the facility more efficient. Here's a picture of some drying beds and where the tanks are supposed to be built.
And when they ask you, well, why did you build that new grit filtration plant without the required sludge holding tanks? You couldn't afford them then, we gotta pay for them now. What happened? And my recall is it was really just in the process of how to make that grit removal process more effective. Went to the fine bubble system, and there we were TCQ required client to go ahead and put in the sludge holding tank. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. I mean, as soon as you start improving one unit process.
This is a dry run because they're going to be hitting you with these questions.
Yes, sir.
Why'd you build that if you didn't have a tank to go with it?
Yes, sir.
wasn't directly involved in that. but
No,
yes.
well, he's
But you're getting the- you're getting
represented the
call out
district.
aftermath,
Of
yeah.
course, no, and that's
I
perfect.
think, also that, it's important to know that we're gonna need 2 tanks, not just 1 tank. you
Yes, sir.
know, And I don't think that should be a surprise
Yes, sir.
from my viewpoint.
Absolutely.
We absolutely are gonna need them if we're going this route.
Right. You're absolutely right. The current immediate need is for 1 tank.
That's
The
just
fu-
to
the-
meet requirements.
Right, the future need obviously will be 2.
There's
Yes, sir.
a timeline, there's so many years that will accommodate the projected need. As it grows, it will, then the second tank, we made a decision at that time that, go ahead and get 1 tank we could afford without breaking the bank. And then when 20 years comes, or whatever it is, 15 years, we need a second tank, then we take that
And I
on.
guess that's something to consider, is what is that timeline? Because we are gonna have to
You don't
prepare
know it's
for that.
determined by growth, it's determined by growth.
Okay, so,
That was based on his report,
right.
that was, for the background, based on the reports that we got of projected need. And so it was presented to build 2 now, but, when we looked at the total cost of this, it just really ran it up.
Right.
$1.5 million, $1.75 million each.
And when this was originally bid, Charles, the tanks were bid out with the rest of the improvements, correct?
Well...
And it just exceeded the available budget?
Yeah, prior to bidding, as the, engineer's estimate was revised, we saw that this wouldn't make it into the funding, so it got held to a separate phase.
Yes, sir.
And now, basically, we're in need of funding source before we can release this project for bidding.
Not discussing the fact that we went to Fine Air Bubble that
Right.
trapped us.
So that's the Port Isabel wastewater treatment plant sludge holding tank. The next project, project number 3, is system-wide lift station rehabilitation. This is obviously system-wide project. Portions of this have been identified by your staff over the years. As part of the services that we provided, we went and toured each individual lift station, made a list of the improvements that needed to be undertaken at each one of them. Some improvements were as simple as recoating some piping. Others were complete overhauls, including pumps, panels, electrical, etc. But again, this is also another project that is supported by previous reports. And as part of our services, we included a cost for rehabilitating all of these projects. These lift stations, rather. Your staff has identified over $700,000 of pump replacement. And these are dynamic situations here with lift stations. Y'all are familiar, your operators get called out on Sunday evenings at 10 p.m. to go fix a lift station that's either overflowing or isn't working. There are backups. So there are a lot of components to a lift station. You've got a lot of lift stations, so it's a dynamic and ever-evolving situation with operating them. So again, this is backed up by previous reports. You've got a system-wide evaluation that was done in 2012 that incorporated a model and GIS base maps, and there were some improvements that were recommended in that phase, or that deliverable by that consultant. And then obviously there's some reliability drivers. As I had mentioned, these things go out fairly frequently. The more robust, the newer the system is, the better it's operating as a whole, the more reliable it's going to be. And we're also trying to aim at reducing O&M manpower, overtime costs, etc., with the rehabilitation of these lift stations. In some instances, we're even trying to eliminate some of them. If we can incorporate additional collection system, extensions to eliminate a lift station, you're not paying electricity, having to maintain it. That's something that we're going to look at as well. And then, of course,
it upgrades the existing system to something that's going to be more beneficial to the public.
more reliable?
More reliable.
Yes, sir.
More beneficial.
Yes, sir.
Cost savings.
Yes, sir.
Eliminating some, and then, the new motors, et cetera, et cetera.
That's correct.
So it's a cost savings.
Yes, sir. It's an investment. Yes, sir. Here's one that I did in a former life for the district. This is lift station 19. It's newly rehabbed, but it's just to show that they look pretty good when they're rehabbed, in my opinion. I like lift stations. Use the Blanco wastewater treatment plant hydraulic improvements. So your staff has pointed out to us that there are some issues in the basins at Isla Blanca. When that plant was originally designed, it was all included in one basin. As you've expanded, you've added basins. There are now some hydraulic issues and bottlenecks. So what we did is analyze that, come up with a solution and a cost estimate to alleviate the short-circuiting and hydraulic bottlenecks. This is kind of an overview here showing everything here contained in one basin. And so what this is going to help do is run the plant more efficiently, help out your operators in their daily endeavors as well, and then also to prevent overflows. As you get rainy weather, lift station 19, the one I just showed you, sends everything to this plant. If there are hydraulic inefficiencies within that facility, you run the risk of overflows, so that's something that we're trying to eliminate with this project as well. There's another picture there showing the 4 basins. Andy Bowie Wastewater Treatment Plant Headworks. So this project, again, recommended by your staff, and that is aimed at moving the O&M and operations and maintenance efforts from inside the basins with routine maintenance that is difficult and costly and time-consuming to capturing all of these inorganics, rags, dirt, debris, sand, everything upstream of the plant so that we're removing it before it starts causing you issues inside the plant. You don't have a headworks currently at that plant. You're getting one at Port Isabel Wastewater Treatment Plant currently. But this is essentially the headworks system. And when we say headworks, we mean screening and grit removal, in short. There's some pictures of some grit. So essentially what happens here, especially in this service area, is we get a lot of sand, which is inorganic. You cannot treat it. It eventually takes up volume inside your basins and reduces your overall capacity. We're just trying to get that out of the plant at the beginning. This is Jeff Sober's slide just showing the cost trade-off with the removal of grit based on the size and O&M costs. So again, Mr. Wells liked to point out, the grit is causing you issues. If you'd imagine sand going through pumps, it's not good for bearings, it's not good for seals. We're trying to catch this up front of the plant to save pumps and other equipment that's downstream within the plant. Energy improvements. Blowers at wastewater treatment plants are the highest cost to operate. They're constantly on. And the blowers that are currently at the Andy Bowie Wastewater Treatment Plant are from the 1980s, their original equipment. So what we're trying to do is replace those blowers to save the district's costs and also enhance efficiency at the plant for delivery of air. There's the Andy Bowie Wastewater Treatment Plant. And this is what the blowers currently look like. District is already undertaking some of these projects at both Isla Blanca and Port Isabel for this very reason, to save money.
How much?
Charles, how much was the reduction in the bill at?
Oh, our monthly bill at Andy Bowie today is $14,000 a month. And
how much would you save at that particular plant if you installed the equipment?
I mean, it depends on the type of, whether you go from coarse air to fine air, that could have big changes in our efficiency. So it's kind of all intertwined.
You lost him on a simple question.
How
much would be saved by doing this?
Oh, 20–30%. I mean, it's the only good thing is I'll have hard numbers at Isla Blanca because we just did a startup for those Neros blowers. So as we get electrical builds here in the next couple of months, I'll compare it to the old blowers to the new blowers, and we'll have hard numbers to look at.
It's a simple question.
Yeah.
He may mention that the blowers operate 24/7.
Right. Well,
so you know what it costs, and someone is going to ask, what's it going to cost after you do the improvement?
I mean, if it's going to be the same result as Quadness Pump Station, for example.
That doesn't tell me anything, Charles. I want to know how much. Don't tell me it's going to be this.
I mean, just take
like some other station. I want to know how much.
The monthly electrical savings by changing out these blowers could be anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 a month.
What he's saying is get with an electrical engineer and get an answer to that, because it will be asked, because that's
Okay.
going to be really relative
Yeah.
to proposing this deal, because people will lock around numbers, okay?
Yes, sir.
Right now, it's, you said $15,000 is saving us, and she's going to produce 15-20% more savings.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, simple thing is, went from two-phase to three-phase, correct? And the savings there, so he's saying, give them some numbers.
Yep.
And those numbers are available just talking to an electrical engineer.
At 20%, you're looking at about $2,800 a month. savings.
Mr.
And it's not just this particular item, but I've heard you say several times, cost savings,
Yes, sir.
cost savings.
Yes, sir.
You better be able to quantify ballpark.
Yes, sir.
Well, you're asking to spend $16 million, and if you're only going to say $50,000 a year, I think forget it.
Mr. Houston, that's a valid point. We'll have estimates for this facility, because it's obviously conceptual. Hopefully, we'll have a bill for the plants that you've already
I would have it for
undertaken.
every one of those items.
Yes, sir.
Okay, once this is done, the district is going to say
sir.
approximately this much money.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, we can also determine a payback period. Like a blower payback period is going to be about 8 years. But yeah.
I don't think the public cares about payback period. I
Okay.
think they want to know what's the cost savings this year if you do it.
Yes, sir.
So they're going to,
And for $16 million in investment, what are they getting, what's the
They're going to
payback?
say, it cost me this today, you do these improvements, what's it going to cost me tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
And they're right, they're not going to care about 8 years, that's good, but we're asking them to vote on it, on a date.
Yes,
So
sir.
they want to know, what's my incentive or benefit for voting for that today?
Yes, sir. Understood. Point taken.
And so that's an enhanced service also.
Absolutely.
and Scott's right. I mean, he's just taking it one more step as far as his payback period.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll incorporate that for sure. Isla Blanca Wastewater Treatment Plant Headworks. This is sort of a rehash of Andy Bowie as well. There's no existing facility at Isla Blanca for grit removal or screening. It's something that is cumbersome to, again, undertake inside the basins. We're trying to collect it before it enters the plant, and is much easier it's a piece of equipment that sits in front that's easier to maintain as opposed to getting inside the basins. And we're trying to save your equipment throughout the plant as well.
There's a story with each one of these projects that we have of where they began, what they are today, and how they've not necessarily deteriorated, but just over all the time. You said 85, they have the maintenance and wear.
Yes, sir.
There's also federal and state requirements that they come up to a higher standard, so those things have to be included or explained in this presentation.
Yes, sir.
It's just not because the district wants to spend a bunch of money.
Right.
These things are required, but also they have this much enhancement or benefit to the public. And
Correct.
the cost savings are going to be there overall.
Yes, sir. All right. And that pretty much wraps it up, the 7 projects that are on.
Another question is, when we had the bond guy here on your last presentation,
He's still here, no?
I don't think it was on that when the other gentleman got it wrong, but you probably can help me. The question was, Rick asked, what is this going to cost per $100,000 home? What is it going to cost? Yeah, it was you. And what is it going to cost us? When I think it was like $80.
It was $31
Yeah,
per
that's
100.
Per 100 per year.
I thought it was 80.
No, that was on,
31.
you were talking about a $500,000 house or something like that. But it's, that number, sorry, that would be helpful to know what that number is. What's it going to cost me as a voter? What am
Yes,
I
sir.
as a voter? What's it going to cost me to do that? When you say it's $31 or whatever it is, you're right. Per 100, that's right. Per 100,000, and then that was even projected after, on the bonds, I recall, that was on the first 2 or 3 years, and it went up or something like that. But,
Yes, sir.
$100,000 house going to cost me $31 per year to vote for this. That's simple math, anybody can wrap their head around.
Sure.
Or do it $500,000, $150 a year.
Yeah, Mr. Roth, I'll just say, you're right, that's laying the whole side. But I I will input that it is very common for a presentation like this to have such a slide. So I'm sure if I also...
So we can add a text slide to this presentation, just so they're aware of the impact. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to quote, but I recall 31 per 100.
You're right, it was. When we looked at the percentage that was going to cost, the percentage to borrow the money for the whole thing, and then what it would do, and that was the question Rick asked, what is it going to cost? What can I tell people?
Yes, sir.
That it's going to be, so they have no idea, but when somebody comes in and say $31 per 100,000 per year. Well,
Yes, sir.
that's no biggie. I can support that.
Yeah.
If I get better service.
Right.
Yeah, we can pull the numbers directly from our financial advisor estimate, where,
That's
you know,
my recommendation.
it raised the tax to
Because that's
7
what's
cents,
going to
8 cents,
resonate
somewhere
after
there.
all of that. It's,
Then we, no, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no,
Then we need to get our timeline, because, I mean, there's only 6 weeks left on this. When you want to make these presentations to the communities, both public and private.
Right. I mean, are there any groups, I mean, I don't know if I want to start it off.
Obviously, all 3 cities need to be presented to.
get on the agenda.
On the
Okay.
agenda, on the city agendas, and you need to probably do 2 per city, open forums, somewhere, somehow. At least 1 open forum per city.
Yes, sir.
Well, I was also thinking like property owners who care, Long
Yeah.
Island Village.
I don't know when their next meeting is, they canceled the
Contact
previous
them.
one.
Okay.
But perhaps they could do a mail out or incorporate in their newsletter.
Well, we actually have brochures. We put a stack here on the table. You're welcome to grab as many as you need.
Okay, but
so
go
we can
ahead and
start
contact them,
circulating
and regardless, you know, get the word out that these presentations are going to be done at the city meetings, and I agree with at least a couple of them each, and do it, and then, you know, go to Laguna Vista, go to, you know, to the golf course, or wherever the people can, you know.
Yes, sir.
Community center here in Port Isabel.
Yes, sir.
But you've got to have in that information, and when you make those presentations, the question I ask, how much is it
How
going
much?
to save?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
In your slideshows, you need to put another column or something in there, but
We'll modify it accordingly. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I don't think people are going to want to see a slide full of poop tanks.
well, no, but they're going to see a slide that says $16
Do some previews of some other, presentations that have been done for other communities for bond presentations.
Yes, sir.
also. I know
Okay.
your company has those.
Yes, sir.
And those are-
And I'll add to that also that I believe that the public needs to understand that, you know, the district is bringing this for their consideration to support, and that this is going to have to be done one way or the other. The district's going to have to make these improvements
Yes, sir.
to upgrade and maintain the existing equipment infrastructure and to meet federal and state requirements.
Yes, sir.
And if we can't do that, the district can't do that with the bond election, the only alternative we have would be, you know, a rate hike. Am I correct?
A rate hike, and that's done by, revenue bonds as opposed to.
No, I'm
municipal
talking about
bonds.
rate hike.
But I mean, revenue bonds would, to pay these large infrastructure improvements, which would be backed by
If we can't-
rate hikes,
You're right, but if we can't do it with selling a bond
Yes.
and support a bond,
municipal bonds.
this money has to be generated from somewhere, otherwise it's gonna have to raise their rates and their monthly bill.
Correct.
We can't ignore these improvements.
Yes, sir.
They're not optional.
Right.
Am I correct?
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Richard. That's a lot to get done in a short time.
Yeah, it's worrisome. It's gonna be a long one tonight.
Moving on to 13, consider and remove from the table the following item tabled at special meeting on September 5th, 2017. Consider and discuss for possible approval of district council and general manager's recommendations for agreement with Verizon Wireless and tenant Andy Bowie.
This one needs to go off the table first.
Or not take it off the table. If we don't take it off the table, it stays on until the next meeting. We're not ready for it. We're not ready for it. The legal's working on the agreement, meeting with them next week.
We'll make a motion to table it. You know, it's gonna go off next meeting, so we need to get it off the table first. Then the number 15, if you see that item, that's when I respond to you guys, so let me know.
14.
So, consider and remove from the table the following item tabled at special meeting on September 5th, 2017. Is there a motion to take this off the table?
So moved.
Motion made by D. Wells,
Second.
seconded by R. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Are there any opposed? None? Okay, item is up, out of the clouds now.
You go to the next item?
Moving on to item number 14, consider and discuss for possible approval of district's council and general manager's recommendations for agreement with Verizon Wireless Antenna at Andy Bowie, water, at Andy Bowie. So we need,
I'd like to recommend to the board that we table this item for the reason that we're not prepared. We're still meeting, having to meet with the representative. I believe it's on the
Tuesday.
October the 2nd, next Monday. We'll meet with them at,
Tuesday.
so he can make arrangements.
He couldn't be.
I'm sorry, Tuesday, October the 3rd. That's right.
Move the table.
motion to table by D. Wells,
Second.
seconded by R. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Item tabled. Moving to 15, consider and remove from the table the following item tabled at special meeting on September 5th, 2017. Consider an award contract for sediment removal services at the River Pump Station, bid 17-06-15. Is there a motion to take this off the table?
I'm not reading this right. We're in 16?
15.
I'll
I
move
got a
to take it
question.
off.
Do we have somebody to do this already?
We've got some bids.
We got to just bring it off the table
We have to take it off the table
to
first,
discuss it.
and then it comes to item number 16, and then we can take it and
Discuss it.
discuss it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to take it off the table. I think there's some more discussion.
Motion by R. Wells to remove from the table,
Second?
seconded by Mr. Avalos. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. None
Aye.
opposed. Item is off of the table, out of clouds. Moving to item number 16, consider an award contract for sediment removal services at the River Pump Station, bid number 17-06-15. Now we have questions or comments
Right.
where we want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of recap. We did a request for sealed bids for dredging at our river pump station, and I guess the quantities more or less were 8-foot depth, and then the dimensions of that intake, 25 by 50 foot area there inside the river itself. And we solicited out to 4 different bidders, and we received bids from 2. And the low bidder was Bullet Construction from Danville, Bullet Construction out of Willis, Texas, for $48,500. And that's where we had recommended approval at the last meeting, and it got tabled because I guess there were some questions as far as the...
Yeah, no, he wasn't here, and he wasn't able to answer how and what. I would add to this that I asked questions of staff relating to the bid of this, and then I had questions as to how it was bid out, and then I brought up questions as to what I term and consider to be lack of specificity in the bid. They just reported 50 by 25, and then the bid spec said 50 by 40 in area and 8 foot deep. We had a great difference between the two bids, $48,000 change versus $90,000. And then there was no real volumes. There was on the low bidder of what he's going to be removing. There wasn't anything. There was volumes given on the other bidder, which didn't correlate to what it was. I would recommend that we table this. I'll make a motion to table this following our site visit at the pump station to know exactly what we're talking about here. And let staff, I don't want to hold up staff. If staff thinks it needs to be done, that's great. My interest is to make sure that the bid is done to where it encourages the most bidders for the project, but at the same time, we're bidding out apple to apple within the contract. And what I've read in the bid proposal, there were some questions that I had as far as the way that the bid could be interpreted by whomever got it.
Now, did we have a pre-bid meeting?
We had a bid meeting, the person with the lowest bid showed up, they take care of it at that, price. Anything and everything to do with the cleaning it out and disposing of the benefits.
Yeah, but even with that, Noy, we still don't have Well, what I'm reading from me to approve, we don't have the specifics, even to the volume of material that's going to be put out. And I go back to my comments way back when we were discussing the cleaning out of the sludge holding pond in Laguna Vista, and I asked then, what is the material, how are we going to count the material coming out? We didn't have a way.
How many loads and
How many loads? We never got it at the end.
Right now, after speaking to, Bullet Construction, they estimated at 370 cubic yards, of landfill, and they need 1 to 2 CO2, depending on shrinkage, to dispose of the material.
Well, and you told me that this has to be taken to the monofill because of potential contaminants in it?
Well, they're going to dispose of it however they feel
Well, that...
Mr. Chair, we got a motion on the table.
I haven't made the motion.
Didn't you make a motion?
No, I did not. I have not officially made that motion.
If we take it to the monofill, on our end, we pay around $1,025 per bin.
But I question that if it's not an issue of contaminants, if it can be disposed of just with a local neighbor that could be. And the bid that was put out, it said that the contractor shall dispose of the material in the most cost-effective, beneficial way. And I said, benefit to whom? To the contractor. It didn't say that in the bid.
They made phone calls, they showed up to the meeting, so we discussed it over, at those times.
Okay, and I bring that again, you know, the high bidder didn't have that benefit. It's his fault he wasn't here.
Yeah,
Yeah, you should motion to table until our site visit.
Is that okay with you as far as it's not going to stop pumping in the next 2 weeks?
To hold us back from anything.
I'll second that.
This project was brought up based on, board members' request.
You got a motion and a second?
Yeah, there's a motion made by H. Houston and A. Avalos for a table of the item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None, motion carries. If I may add one final closing comment, I remember this work was done 7 years ago, something like that, and I was here. Perhaps we can,
That is correct.
something like that. Perhaps we can pull that up and look at what we did last time, at the cost and the work that was done, and kind of get an idea to work with on what the current
Do you
is.
remember the estimate that we paid?
And I remember it being about that dollar amount, but I didn't want to say that.
And if it was effective. And if it was effective. You know, yeah.
I guess my concern would be, what are they doing with the sludge they're taking? And do we have any liability for that, depending on what they do with it?
Their
The last time that, we did this, about 6-7 years ago, the landowner next door, said he could take it. It's just dirt, there's no contamination.
Okay.
It's just
River sand.
Yeah.
Give it to me. Well, that's a heck of a lot cheaper than, so, you know, these are things we'll learn on the site visit.
Moving forward, thank you for everyone's input. Moving to item number 17, consider and approve a 1-year extension of contract for IT services with G5 DBA Orbit Broadband LLC consulting agreement. Turn on here. No? Any questions or comments about I think we have a very good rapport with them.
I had one, or I noticed something in the contract, I had a question on. I'm not too sure that we should be paying an independent contractor a cost of living increase.
I don't think there's anyone here on behalf of
Because they're not an employee.
It's up to the board if they want to approve it or not.
Well, we can approve it, but, he can approve it, his point is valid, and that was, we didn't catch it when we did this lease.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because we're also providing, a room, computer, phone services, that has value. So we're also agreeing to a 3% on top of that, even though they're not an employee.
So it just really, it was, my recall of this, Alex, is that, you know, it was written cost of living, I didn't catch that, thank you. But it was really just, it was just gonna be an increase of 3% to extend it 1 year. I would ask, am I interrupting you, okay?
You're fine.
I would ask staff if they're satisfied with the performance of G5. Everybody. They're doing their job, no issues, they're Johnny in the spot when we need them. Then the only thing I'll add to that is be prepared to bid this out next year.
Yes, correct.
I move to approve.
Motion for
1 year
approval by
extension.
D. Wells.
Was it, it's a one-year agreement?
Yes, 1 year is written in the contract.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Motion made by D. Wells, seconded by R. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carries. Thank you. Moving to item 18, consider and award supply of chemicals contracts for water plants and wastewater plants, bid number CH-1708-01-08. Carlos?
Any questions or?
If I may, I asked Carlos to give me more background. I had questions specifically in our recommendation that where it stated that number 13 and 14 have not been tested as they are new products, and they were the low bid. And so my question was, well, why haven't they been tested? Are they the same thing or not? And my learning from staff, besides, Carlos, was that this is a different process. We are putting in what I'm going to call a degreaser or anaerobic product that will take and eliminate the buildup of grease and sludge in the lines, and they're using it wherever the area that we're doing. That's what the original product that we're using now. This product in 13 or 14 is a fogging system, and everybody says, what the heck is that? And so I think, and fill us in here, that we're going to talk to this company, and they were going to look at doing a pilot program or kind of test this for us.
The gentleman's here.
Good.
Do you have any questions?
What is it?
FOG, that stands for fats, oil, and grease. That's the name of the product.
Fats, oil, and grease. So it's a.
That's a removal of fats, oil, and grease.
So it's not.
Go up here, please. State your name for the record.
Gentlemen, thank you. My name is Juan Cortez. I represent Chem Nation, and we represent the product that is called FOG, which is fats, oil, and grease, which is a removal of the, obviously, the fats, oil, and grease from the lift stations.
Your clever acronym.
That was easy, wasn't it?
It confused us all.
Right, well, I apologize for that, but that's the name of our product, yes.
Is it? Well,
Yeah.
okay, well, why didn't you tell me?
Sorry.
Yes.
I believe that they're.
We're currently running the trial as
testing the product,
yes, sir.
testing it at one of the sites that's not being.
For how long?
by,
You ever seen a
how long
commercial
they-
for Brownsville being beat without fog?
One month.
No fat,
3
oils, and
months.
grease in the system? It's been a
3
commercial.
months, normally, as I mentioned, before that, we normally test all the products before we go into any agreement. So,
Right.
we're gonna test it.
We were not aware that we were required to test the product for 60 or 90 days, whatever it was, so we just basically started our trial yesterday. So,
Okay.
would the board be willing to give us additional time to get through our trial process? And
Do you know if it's having any mingling with existing chemicals that are still in use, or are they?
no, we're using it at a different location,
site.
actually.
Different sites.
Yes, a different site.
Carlos,
Yes.
can we take, may I?
Yeah.
Carlos, can we take and approve, if we so chose, to approve the bids for these line items we go and not approve 13 and 14 at this time until we see the
Overall result, or?
overall results? Is this is bid for different competitors, so we have to award to whom we want to or feel right?
Right, and if we do that, I believe we're gonna be out of, chemical for 2 months.
In 2 months.
Well, you could probably purchase it off
3 months, actually.
off the contract, wouldn't you? I mean, for the meantime.
We have a gentleman standing up for some reason.
Okay. This is a gentleman that represents our existing.
Perfect.
Yes, sir. I'm here with Evergreen Southwest, and I represent the current grease and odor control
Could
program.
you come up here, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, be careful of that ramp or thing.
I represent, my name is Chuck Jones, and I'm the Vice President of Operations for Evergreen Southwest, and we've been doing your grease and odor control here in the district for almost 10 years. And we've done a good job, and we've stopped a lot of odor complaints. We've reduced all the chokes or a majority of the chokes that were happening on the island. And we've done a great job with you folks. The reason I'm here, number one, was Carlos asked me to come here to answer any questions, but I'd also like to state that we bid this product out on a per-gallon basis. And that being said, that there's typically a big difference in the amount of product needed to get the similar results.
Similar results, I mean pricing or?
Yes, sir, that's what I'm talking about, pricing. So in that sense, and we've been doing this for 18 years, so we have a lot of experience with folks just coming in and trying to underbid a price per gallon. But the reality is that most of the times, other products take 3 to 4 times to give you any kind of results, much less an equivalent result. Mr. Galvan, he actually bid out our product specifically, and then the competing company that came in and underbid, they presented themselves as having microsolve or odorsolve equivalents. And I don't believe that either one of those products are equivalent to mine, actually.
I will say,
So that's the possibility too. I mean, we formulate our own products, so that's
Did-
very quality products.
Did y'all by any chance present bidding specs for this?
Yes, yes, we do.
Yeah, so, and actually his product is a enzymatic product, which is an enzyme, and I think that the bidding specs specifically said no bacteria, enzymes, or emulsifying products.
well, we need that clarified. And I will add that in talking to staff, these gentlemen, they were very satisfied with the product we've been using, gave me the background, that this has, kind of brought us into a whole new era, so it is effective today.
It's very effective. We work with a lot of folks, and we're also doing a community outreach here, working with a lot of your establishments on the island to help them with their grease traps and such. And, we do this with Mission, Edinburgh, with you folks, San Marcos, City of Laredo, City of Houston, New Braunfels, San Marcos. We do this with a lot of major cities.
May I add to that they did tell me, the staff told me, that there are restaurants that are using this, Louis and Blackbeards and Daddies. You guys using it? And that they're using it in their own on-site system to alleviate their grease trap problem, et cetera, which, augments the district's sewer treatment.
We can offer the same services. I mean, we're just looking for...
Well, we're not providing it to those people. That's him going out and selling to these other people, and it's working for them too, and you could do the same.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I would ask to just, he brought up a good question. Was this an apple-for-apple bid as far as the bid specs? And I don't want to deter from looking at a new product. And so maybe the district needs to look at some way to test a new one and keep what's tried and proven.
Yeah, this is definitely not an apple-to-apple situation with products, and I encourage y'all to try other products. We've been doing business in the city of San Marcos for over 15 years. They try a new product every year, and they're continuously our customer. I mean, that's your gentleman's job. These folks that are operating and managing your system to try other products. I do recommend that and encourage that. But as far as this bid is concerned, it wasn't an apples-to-apples bid at all. That was my point.
This isn't the time to come and modify a spec
Yeah,
through a submittal of a bid.
I think it's kind of got a little touchy now.
Can't modify the specs, but
Well, like you would pre-approve a product before you would go after bids, for example. Like you would already run a pilot in advance, determine that the ChemNation's product meets our needs, and then you would write it into the spec in advance of accepting bids. This doesn't make sense.
so you accepted a bid that wasn't qualified?
That's my opinion, but I don't know.
Well, as an engineer, that's not your department. I don't know where it goes from here, Carlos. Is there any way?
They said it's equivalent.
Well, yeah, they're making that representation, but
Hasn't been tested.
but we haven't ridden the horse yet. Okay, so I'd like to see that, we bid it out, we have this lump sum, but at the same time, I don't want to turn the back on if somebody's going to take and test us or give us a demonstration that we shouldn't take advantage of that also. We can accept Evergreen services. We would be committing to buy this amount of product from them. But at the same time, for the next year, or when we're going to do this again, I'm open to seeing.
And that's why we want them to test it. there's an opportunity for us to, get a better product or similar,
Well,
better price.
the downside as far as a business decision is, if there is one, the downside is that we would be awarding the bid here and buying more product than we may need for this year if we continue with the test. The upside is we have the opportunity with the 3 plants to try this with one area to, try it out. And it's not going to take away from what, if we award the bid to Evergreen, to not taking away from them, but at the same time, we get to test ride a horse. Am I making sense here, fellas?
Yep.
Yes.
Sir?
Yes.
Would you take, this is me speaking individually, would you take and work with staff to go ahead and discuss more about your demonstration offer? And he's doing it now, but we're talking about for a period of time. Nobody knew exactly how long you're going to do this, so if you're...
It was news to us yesterday when they told us that it was 60, 90 days trial purposes.
And the reason is being that they never approached the district for testing that solution until we came in. So normally, if I'm not mistaken, we always test.
That's how we earned y'all's business 10 years back,
Yeah,
sir.
so
We're not newcomers to the industry. We've been in business for 20 years, and we actually custom formulate all of our products. So we're going to come in and guarantee that our product's going to work.
I like that positive attitude. I'd like to, for the district, I'd like for you to, give it a shot. But for right now, we need to take care of our chemical needs. And if we need to award this out now, okay, but at the same time, let's come in here and see what can, give us the results, put it on an agenda item and give us a report of what this other product is doing.
Definitely will, because we want to see the product. It's not that we don't want to see the product, but at a better price, it would help this.
What is the staff's recommendation?
Well, staff recommends, for that reason, keeping the existing contractor.
No, the existing contractor, a little higher, not much.
Right.
A little higher.
That's about
Until they test their solution. That is what we want them to test the solution. We wanted to see if it works.
Prove it to us.
That's the main
Show us.
thing.
Are you willing to do that, sir?
Well, we were looking forward to see if we could get the award bid.
Well, what I'm hearing from staff, I can't support that. The staff will tell you, I'm the one here all the time saying, get me the lowest bid, give me the best price. But I hear from staff, they're saying that Evergreen's product is doing the job, is doing a great job. There's other businesses using it. So I have to go with what is tried and proven, even though it's a little more expensive. Speaking for myself.
I just wish that they would have been here like 4 months ago to approach this.
Well, they couldn't have because you weren't advertising then.
Bid wasn't out 4 months ago, so
They need to solicit the bid too.
This is an annual bid?
We've had all kinds of.
Yes, sir. It is.
It's an annual
Yes,
bid.
sir.
It's an annual bid, so we're giving you 12 months' notice, sir. We're giving you 12 months' notice of our annual bid coming up, okay?
Yeah,
Show us now, please.
yeah, I mean, I would say it needs to get into the spec.
Helpful in assisting our staff in testing their product.
I will make a motion to accept the staff's recommendation of awarding this bid.
Motion made by D. Wells, seconded by A. Avalos. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Sorry, guys.
Thank you. All well said and well received. Yes. Yes. Moving to item number 19. Consider an award supply of petroleum products, contract bid number BP-17-08-01 I'm sorry, 01-12. Can't see.
We just got one bidder.
Motion to approve.
We've been using them, yeah, I'll second.
Motion made by A. Avalos, seconded by R. Wells. Are all those in favor? They are. We need to wait till Doyle gets here. Sure. Huh? Yeah, no. I guess all those in favor, Doyle's passed. Okay, so motion carries unopposed. Moving on to item number 20. Consider and award instrumentation maintenance service contract, instrumentation maintenance services contract, bid number IMS-17-08-01/08. Carlos?
Question on that?
Who are we working with now?
The existing, the contractor right now is, Sendero Sound.
So we're
It's a
switching.
little higher. That's their normal. If you see the justification, I have a recommendation there. The most bidder is, Moody Brothers, at, $95 per hour.
I move to approve Moody Brothers.
Motion made by A. Avalos.
Which one are we on?
20.
Did we get-
I'd just like to ask a question. Do we know who Moody Brothers are?
Yes, sir.
Have you used them before?
Yes, we have.
It's basically the same thing?
Yes, same. It's
No.
the same, instrumentation maintenance. It's just a little better on the cost.
Okay, second.
Seconded by R. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
We are. None opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Move to item number 21. Consider and award ground maintenance services contract, bid number GMS-17-08-05.
Carlos, did you get your comments in here, you know, your...
Yes, sir, I did, they all complied with the request that I had. Especially, all the equipment that they have and insurance.
So,
All the companies complied.
Says lowest bidder has not complied. No insurance and equipment.
The no insurance and equipment is, the number 4, Jose Andres. And then insurance, the job is giving, lacking the insurance.
no. Did Antonio Gonzalez provide you with the information that you requested? Okay. Tony Gomez. And then, and then in your summary, you said services of 9 companies with all 6 responding.
Only with, 6, supposed to be only 6 responding, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And we did solicit the 9 companies.
Do we have any background on the performance of the service that's the low bidder?
We did provide, references.
I don't see how he can do it for that.
I talked to him, and he said he would comply with everything that we requested.
I would say the same thing, but does he have the equipment? Do you know that for a fact?
He gave me a list of all the equipment.
And he's in business of doing this with other people? Were you able to check his performance?
That's the only thing I didn't check on that one.
What were we talking about?
I did mention to him that if he didn't comply with the request that I had and not comply with the requirements of the specifications on cutting the line, that we didn't put one.
Well, we got trapped in that a year before of some service that wasn't being...
It was towards the end of the contract.
Yeah, but he wasn't keeping up, he wasn't doing it. The person that's been doing the job has been doing an excellent job, and he even lowered his price to compete.
Who does it now?
That MH.
MH.
And he does a good job, too.
I would recommend we table this and ask you, Mr. Galvan, to check references. And that's simply, you know, we're still on a month-to-month with the existing provider. I just don't want to back up because we are getting good service. I like the price, but at the same time, I would like to have some references that people say, he completes the job, he completes the contract, he gets it done.
Is Antonio Gomez somebody local, or?
There's a lot of Harlingen. That was my first concern that.
He's gonna come all the way down here and do all this for $800 a month. I've found over the years, it took a lot of bids, that when you get a bunch of competitive bids and then you get somebody that's half what the other ones are, it don't work out.
I'll make a motion to table this.
If I may, gentlemen, can I speak on behalf of this, because I'm one of the contractors who put a bid on it, and I'll be honest with you, I'll shut up. I came in as the highest bidder, but I also I'm insured, I'm bonded, I have a pool, I have the equipment. I've been working for Home Advisor now. I'm the #1 guy for Home Advisor. I do tree trimming, landscaping, everything. The price that I'm including, that I gave in my bid, is doing all the work twice a month. Okay? The comes down to like $69 for every single one property. Everybody else is doing it just one time. I've been doing it twice a month.
Well, wait a minute, where's the bid specs? Did you do the same? Yeah, we went through,
I understand that, but the thing is that the way I see it, because the second to the last company that you folks had hired that was working, I had to come and assist them because he didn't have the equipment. Mr. Galvan knows that I've worked at all these sites, all these locations. And then since then, I've streamed away from him and just kept going on my own. So I'm here asking you gentlemen to consider that looking at the bid that I purchased, it's still fair enough to doing properties twice a month. Well, I had to get phone calls.
Up to twice a month, they're not.
Up to twice a month.
Yeah, they're not all required
Well,
twice a month.
there's,
Up to twice.
not all the time, but you gotta remember one thing. At all these locations that I've done, and I've seen them, and I've worked them, every single one, it's not grass. The problem that you guys have, that you gentlemen have, is weeds. So, it does look discouraging to come to the #1 water district, and you have all these sites, and you got weeds, and you have to wait on a phone call, you have to wait, 3 weeks before it gets mowed again. Why not hire a company that's insured, that has a product, that has the maintenance that they folks are looking for? We have the proof, we have everything that I need on it. Everything's included. I'm talking about trimming palm trees, trimming trees, mesquite trees. That's the whole price of everything. I'm not putting in a different bid, well, this is just for mowing. No, I'm talking about the whole thing.
well, that's what the bid specs were, and we have the difficulty is because we did bid it out. And what you're telling us is that you didn't bid it the way the bid specs were, and that would be one cut per month with the option of, if needed or requested, a second cut per month. That originated back last year at my recommendation because of the drought. We don't need 2 cuttings. Winter, we don't need 2 cuttings. So staff has done a pretty good job of working with that, and so we honed it down where nobody's being shorted when 2 cuts are needed, 2 cuttings are needed, but at the same time, 1. You came in here, if you're saying that, a single cutting is $1,087.50 a month, which, puts you in second place if you'd bid it that way. The challenge we have, we either have to accept the bid as it is, or make the recommendation that I did, that we check references.
Well, I know 3 references right there, recommendations as well.
You shot yourself in the foot when you didn't read the bid specs and you bid 2 cuttings.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But, here's the thing about it. It gets very subjective when you say 1 cutting a month, well, but it might need 2. I mean,
We bid it that way. We bid it to where, bid 1 cutting, X amount of dollars, that breaks it down to each location, and then left the discretion of the district if we didn't need to, because they were going in there and mowing twice or not when they didn't need to. It saved the district a whole bunch of money.
Well, even weeds grow in the dry time. I appreciate Mr. Bowden being here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like what Mr. Rick Wills said. I mean, there's a guy coming from Harlem that doesn't show, he's gonna do all these properties. Some of these properties take, if you don't have a good crew, if you got 2 guys, it's gonna take you a day to a day and a half just to do 1 property.
Well, we know.
Yeah.
We know
And
that's a
$800,
challenge.
I mean, are you really getting what you pay, what you want?
I've been to all of them, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a
and
lot of mowing, baby.
I have the equipment, I have the chainsaws, the pole saws, the mowers, big mowers, small mowers, trailers, I have it all. and at the price that I'm putting up there, and I understand what you're saying, Charles, but why would you wanna wait to call somebody to come do the yard work, when, hey, you already have to, you have one company that has everything that you ask for, that's gonna do it without even asking to be called out here to do it. Because trust me, I've worked
Well,
all these single properties.
because we didn't wanna spend $26,100. I made them get cheap last year, and that's why I requested that you bid it out on a single cutting per year, leaving and they bid it, if a second cutting, that was included in the bid specs, I'm assuming the same way it was this year. So,
but what in the
we're
board
kinda caught. I hear you, everything you're saying. And, you know, I'd like to work to where it works best for everybody. I don't wanna take and put the district in a situation to where they're not getting performance, because that's where we were a little over a year ago with non-performance.
Well, I mean, you can ask your staff, especially the staff that's on
The staff said that M&H did an excellent job. Even the people that were requested to bid on this said, no, the guy's doing a good job, I'm not gonna take and, you know, undercut him. I make the motion that we table this until Mr. Galvan has had an opportunity to check references on the low bidder. And at the same time, Mr. Galvan, would you please take all of this in consideration and bring back to us your recommendation that we accept this bid or rebid it?
Motion made by
to
Duell,
table.
to table.
I'll second it.
Seconded by
Yeah, Herb.
For all those in favor?
Aye.
We are. Any opposed? None. Item is now tabled.
Thank you for taking your time to come up and explain it, sir.
Thank you. Moving to item number 22, consider and discuss for possible approval to reject the bid tabulation and extend the existing contract for asphalt and paving repairs.
Carlos and I visited on this, and then he brought to my attention that, well, he's having trouble getting anybody to bid on this, because in my opinion, it's not a specified bid. It's a bid on the unknown. When the district goes out and repairs or digs up a street, for example, and they have to go and do the repairs, they come back in, put the caliche and pack it down, and then, you know, they have to get a company to come in and resurface it the way it was. Well, the problem is, nobody knows when that's going to be happening, so...
Or how big or small.
Or how big, or how small, and mobilizing, and so I had suggested that, you know, he consider looking at doing this on a monthly, you know, bid it on a monthly service instead of at will. He said, and I'm not speaking for you, fill me in, that you said that typically when you get 3 or 4 jobs, you call them to come in and do it.
That's about every
Unless the regulatory city says do it quicker.
And the reason that I bid it out by cubic yards, square feet, is a reason that we don't know how many. So I just, the way they recommended years back is to do it by 1 square foot cost or 1 cubic yard cost on each of the items. And that's why we've been bidding it out. That's the only thing. It's an unknown, because you don't know until we have a water leak, then or a sewer leak where we tear up the street. Then we come back and say, okay, this 10 by 12 size of hole that we dug up, we need to repair that. You know, so they multiply 1 cubic yard times 12, and then 10 by. So that's the way it is. That's the way it works. So there was only one company that bid it out, and it was on the high side on one of the percentages that they gave me for South Park Island. It looked like they were going to 90% for just traveling, mobilizing to South Park Island of the initial cost of item 2, 3, and 4, and it was too high. So that's why I recommend that we go with the existing contractor and extend it 1 year, and it is in that agreement. Last year's agreement was the option to extend 1 more year at the same cost, and that's what I would like to recommend.
What is that cost?
We can do
That's just a
more bids on it.
What is that costing?
What is that?
What is that costing right now?
Costing right now, it's around $48,000 a year. But that's not an extra cost. The year before that was like $45,000.
It's all on demand.
So it could be, yes, on as-needed basis.
And are these companies that build roads or?
They repair the road back to,
Patch.
You know, but these aren't companies that build roads.
yes, yes it is.
GT,
Okay.
yeah.
Have we looked into companies that do driveways?
We bid it out, on.
In other words, somebody that doesn't
Anybody
have,
can bid it out.
that doesn't
So,
have, you know, this big
concrete companies,
equipment to,
yes,
because that's where your cost is the mobilization.
right.
That's your biggest cost. So
Well,
what if we look at
that's-
companies, smaller companies that can do driveways and things like that, that are not road builders?
The only thing is that they didn't bid it, they didn't give me any bids.
Well,
Contractors.
Did
So
they,
everybody that bid-
were they actually solicited or, I know you've advertised it, but still, were they solicited?
I think I solicited it to the 5 companies, and then, it's, also, it was advertised on the newspapers, local and, I think it was the Arlington paper, then One Star.
What did you,
And then we advertise on our website also.
So who we using right now, is it GT paving?
Yes.
what'd you do?
That was the
They're-
only,
they've always got good prices.
Yeah, but what did you do on number 5, where they want a 90% increase?
it was just a mobilization to South Africa.
They want a 90% increase, which,
On item number 2, 3, and 4, and, I told. I
right,
told them,
right, but they want to increase 90%. What were they paying before?
I can't remember right now. It was a lot less than that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't have any objection to a 2% increase, et cetera, 6% even, but 90, I'm still questioning, what's up?
And again, if you see on these, they put based on one of them, like 1, 2, and 3, based on minimum of 150 square yards, and then on the 4, 5, and 6, it's, based on minimum of 50 cubic yards. And if you do the calculations on top of it, it'll be like way more, double or triple the 48,000 that we had last year. So it's way high.
They're still patching up, they're still mobilizing. If we had to have something fixed right now, they're still coming to do it on the existing agreement, correct? On the existing agreement.
Is this GT paving right here, or somebody else?
No, that's GT.
And they want 90% increase to go.
On that, mobilized into the island. And, but you know, this is GT's blue writing, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so they did that. So I need clarification what they're telling us with the 90%.
I think we better
Well,
table this.
Go ahead.
The way I read it there is that if you,
Reading it and clarification is two different things.
and I did the calculation on it, on top of it, on just a regular, one by, whatever the square footage that I had, on one, it was 90% increase.
Why don't we just extend the contract?
Are they having trouble with the building
Well,
department out
they
there?
don't, they want to extend the existing contract with these increases.
No, they don't.
That was the existing contract.
No, the existing contract
This
is
is
the
a
existing
new
rate.
bid that they gave us. If you recall that, I had requested the board to approve an extension of that, agreement, about 2 board meetings back, and you said, no, we want to bid
Okay,
it, make it a 3-year.
I own it.
And,
I own it.
and y'all
I own it.
the extension.
Will they extend a year, the current
I
contract?
talked to them before, like, the last,
So then all this conversation is over, we don't have to consider this, we just make,
I'm requesting that we,
what is the agenda item do we take
and
and,
then extend the existing contract.
can we do that under this agenda item?
No, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
You can't.
It's on the same.
Well, it's 22. Consider and discuss possible approval to reject tabulation, yes, that's my motion. Motion to reject and extend the existing contract.
Second.
Yes. Motion made by G. Wells, seconded by A. Avalos. All those in favor? Aye. They are. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. That's for the process. Dance around. Item 23, consider and approve proposal for professional surveying services for sewer improvements crossing Padre Boulevard near Andy Bowie wastewater treatment plant. Carlos?
Yeah, this is basically follow-up work from the, the SSO at Clayton's. We're trying to get some additional topo survey from Padre Boulevard, starting off at the Birding Center, crossing, and then we also was trying to get on the same topo survey the elevations of Clayton's and Tiki and La Quinta, all under one set of, electronic files or datum, so we know we're dealing with apples to apples. Because basically what we're trying to do, or what we've committed to, is crossing the sewer main just on Padre Boulevard itself, and then all we do is build that first manhole, and then it's developer's responsibility to continue from there at their expense. But without knowing what those elevations are inside the private areas, where we're trying to decommission these lift stations, that's a critical point to be able to set the profile on Padre Boulevard itself. So basically the intent of this topo is to have the data needed for me to take care of the design of just the sewer crossing on Padre Boulevard, and then put it out for bid and construction as we had committed to earlier.
Well, wouldn't you set the manhole or what'd you say with the end on the east side there that you're going to put in the collection?
Well, it's basically going to be a 12-inch sewer crossing.
A 12-inch sewer crossing, and then on the east side, we terminate there with what?
With just a manhole.
With a manhole.
Right.
All right, and then they're going to connect to that.
Right, but the thing is
and you can't build anything greater. What size line is on the west side?
15-inch.
15-inch. So, would you put in a 15-inch to cross under Padre Boulevard?
Well, you want to minimize depth, and so I'm trying to find out what depth this line needs to be.
Why?
Just because the deeper the line, the more expense you run into.
Well, how deep is that line?
Well, the existing line is 10-inch, and I don't have the topo to know what the existing.
No, I'm talking about our line now
our
on the west
15-inch
side.
line, it's about 10, 12 feet deep, somewhere in there. I mean, we could match flow
You
lines.
still have to go down and tap to it.
Well, you'd have a drop. Like, you don't necessarily need to.
You still got to go down to tap to it.
Right, but are you going to tap it 1 foot from the bottom, 2 foot from the bottom? That's what's unknown at this point. I mean, you could just run it and match the flow line and at maximum depth and hope it's going to work without knowing.
No, you could still you could still run the line underneath with enough drop to service whatever if you took. If I'm understanding correctly, you say you could raise the connection above the existing line on the west side and cross under Padre Boulevard there. Is that correct?
Well, the gravity sewer, you start at your upstream point, and then you want to run your sewer at a minimum depth, so you have to put a lift station, for whatever reason.
My objection to all this is that we're doing work on the landowner. We're doing work, even the topo for the landowner. They need to tell us what they're doing on their side by them paying for the survey, and provide that information to the district, and then the district will engineer their project accordingly.
Yeah, I mean,
my whole objection is, why are we paying for this? Our agreement, a verbal agreement we did here. You weren't here.
I wasn't
We were here. We were here. The agreement is that they came to us and say, we'll put everything on the east side, all our lines and everything, if y'all will put the line across Padre Boulevard and connect to the collector on the other side. I said, okay, we'll do that.
Right.
It said nothing about us spending money on them side for them.
We're ordering surveys or all of
Well, right.
They need to pay for that themselves. If you need that information, I think it's within the district's right to request that they provide it to the district.
Right. And so I can start working with, the three owners and figuring out how we're going to.
And I brought up the question of even, this work crossed into the Tiki, and I want to make sure that we have some written authorization to go on people's land if we were going to be paying for it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done any of that at this point. I mean, we could get right of entry. It's just been verbal,
And I haven't seen a written agreement or easement conveyance to the district, which is part of that little verbal agreement we had with the landowners.
Right.
They've got to...
the street, isn't it?
No.
No,
it's what Clayton's
this
gonna give
survey-
us is because you can't do it on the Ponte Boulevard because it's sidewalk.
Yeah, you need
He
a
was gonna
survey to
come in.
prepare exhibits to dedicate the easement.
So we need to get that done before
Survey has to be done
it's
before we
planned.
dedicate an easement.
You know, we got the cart ahead of the horse here because, you know, I don't trust those people. I'll be nice about it,
Well,
but I want to get the district covered on the right way. I don't want the district to spend the money on this. I think the landlord should pay for it, and I think you should proceed for them giving you the information that you need and get that easement conveyance to us pronto.
right. And so I can work directly with the owners on that. It's just a change of plans from a couple months ago, but we can
Make
get
a
it
motion to
done.
deny.
Second.
Motion made for denial by Dewell, seconded by A. Avalos. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
There are any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 24 has been covered. Moving to item number 25, consideration for approval of revenue and expense report for August 2017. Someone?
So far, we are getting close to meet the budget, and the August statements, that's what I'm gonna be sending to the auditors, from this week, and they're gonna start revising as of August, so that way they can, next week, as soon as we get the, audit statement, meeting, then they're gonna start working with the remaining of the month of September, so hopefully we can, finish this month with them. By Friday, we should be able to get the inventory going, and as you can tell on the 91% completed of the time frame as of August, we have, received 89% of our revenues expected for this fiscal year, and, we have spent 87%, so it's like 2% less of expenses budgeted so far.
We're just approving a report, that's all at this point.
That's correct.
With this,
It's an out and unaudited
and it's just
report so far.
unaudited, it's just,
Yes.
it's just where we are today. Move to approve.
Motion made by Dewell,
Second.
seconded by Arwell. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving to item 26, consider and approve Pitney Bowes renewal contract for Plant Fresh and Sand Flow Series leases. I saw some issues on that.
Our current lease has expired, or is it continuing?
It's a continuing, lease, and, I have Mr. Sanford here with some information,
Oh, are you okay? Careful, yeah.
I'm good, I'm good.
Now, be
I'm sorry,
careful.
I didn't mean to start on you.
That's dangerous, and that ramp is very dangerous.
Right, I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, basically, in a nutshell, my name's Stanford Todd. I've been your sales rep for many years. I live in the valley here in Donna. We had a change of request, basically on the email billing, to save money. Instead of emailing and then following up with a hard copy to your customers, we are going to stop the hard copy, so you save postage and paper and envelope cost, and just email. So that change of request came about the same time as...
I didn't fully hear all of that correctly.
Okay.
Want to stop paper billing, or was it
Well, yeah, your hard copy statements that go out, people that don't want...
entirely or electively? Electively? Okay.
Yeah, yes. So that'll save postage dollars plus, material cost. And then, about the same time, we have our software, which currently it's a lease on the PB First and Connect Right Mailer, the license fee, to give you the postal discounts that you have on your hard copy statements that go out, renewing that lease, and then also the postage meter. You have a postage meter that is currently up for renewal too. We did that about the same time. I
put together a little paper after the, to kind of break down what you're currently spending now and what I put together for you. Currently, the software lease is at $672. I'm reducing that cost for that software lease to $568.20. Of course, this is all by board pricing, which is, you know, giving me a savings of $103.80 per month. And of course, I did that because of your postage meter just had a price increase in June of this year. I'm matching line item by line item. The current postage meter you have now, the new one is the same footprint, the same functionality. I didn't upgrade you to something bigger and fancier and more expensive. It's just we had a price increase with Board. Now the positive thing about the P-Series taking the place of the Connect Plus 1000, the P-Series now, because the post office about a year and a half ago, if you did not create a IMPB label on oversized envelopes, flats, priority, you know, envelopes, parcels, small packages and boxes, on those items, if you do not place an IMPB label, you're going to pay a retail rate. So that's what everybody did, unless they became compliant by producing this IMPB barcoded label. Like you're barcoding your statements now, and you get the 10-cent discount. Post office is doing the same thing on your larger packages and boxes. So what Pitney Bowes did, instead of, you know, to deal with this post office regulation that they came out with, they put together a software that will address placing a barcode on a label. And of course, Pitney Bowes is giving that software at no cost on the Board contract, along with the barcode label and a keyboard. And that is connected directly to the meter. So you're going to save anywhere from 60 cents up to $6 per piece based on the weight. So you're going to be going from retail rate to commercial rate now. So pretty much almost everything will be barcoded, getting the discounts, USPS discounts. So of course the new cost is $279.69, and the old cost was at, you know, $190 per month. Of course, you get the software, and you will be getting postal savings from those other items that you mail out to help offset the cost, which is basically $89 a month more. So with the savings that we did on the software of $103.80 to help offset the cost of the postage meter that the Board had a price increase, matching line item from line item. Basically, that's a $13 savings still based on your current budget. And that's what my objective was as far as renewing the contract.
Mr. John, I've had some communications, email communication with Ms. Sanjuano and Carlos. And help me understand, are you Pitney Bowes?
Yes, I am.
You are Pitney Bowes, and you are a representative of Pitney Bowes.
Correct.
To provide this service.
Correct.
And so you are not.
I am your sales rep.
For the
Pitney Bowes home office in Stamford, Connecticut.
Okay. And so, and you're local.
I live in Knox, yes.
Okay.
But I have a territory from West Texas,
Great.
Austin,
Great.
all the way down the valley.
Great. And so that's where I was having trouble wrapping my head around this, because Board
is a government pricing
I know
entity.
It is. It doesn't impress me.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't. Yeah, a lot of times you can get some very competitive bidding in there, but it's not my experience. It's my experience that we don't always get the most competitive bidding because somebody in Carrollton may not really service down here even though they're in buy board, when they could provide the same thing. So, I
Well, the good
understand-
thing about the buy board contract, and didn't mean to interrupt you, but
Please do.
the good thing about the buy board contract is it protects you. It gives you not only negotiated price, but if you didn't get the funding for this contract, you can cancel it. So what we do is, and buy board did, they negotiated Pitney Bowes down to very, very low rates, even on the new stuff. Not across the board, but, you know, again, it's better than T-Pass pricing, and that used to be the #1 co-op in the United States, and buy board now is lower than T-Pass. So it is very, very low rates on equipment. And that includes maintenance, service fees, parts, labor, everything.
Staff has been very complimentary in saying that, you know, your Pitney Bowes has worked well, your service has been exemplary.
Yes, sir.
I acknowledge that, because I've been questioning, you know, whether options or other options are out there.
Yes, sir.
That's me. At the same time, this agreement, or this lease we're talking about, is preemptive of an existing lease we have with
Correct.
Pitney Bowes.
Yes.
So it's doing that because of a change in the
No, and I mean,
system?
there's a time frame. You're at a renewal point to renew that software
It's
lease.
a year out, isn't it?
No, it's not a year out. On the software, you're right at 6 months out.
6 months out?
Yes.
And so you're saying that there's...
And then the postage meter is right at, I can't do buy board has a rule, 7 months or less, you can renew the contract based on needs or, you know, objectives.
Tell me the benefit that the district has from redoing the lease agreement with Pitney Bowes 6 months early and packaging it with the other lease that's coming up now. That's what I was reading here. There's some advantages to that.
Right.
And so where's the dollars advantage of doing that, or do we just keep riding out 6 months and then do a separate lease? I prefer doing both at the same time, but at the same time, is there a benefit to the district?
Well, the benefit on the postage meter renewal now is you can start taking advantage of the savings now instead of waiting 6 months on your
Barcode.
overside, yes, on your overside envelopes, flats, parcels, priority envelopes, small packages and boxes. So all that now you could be saving on every piece. So the quicker, the sooner, the better. And I couldn't do anything until that 7-month ruling, and you're at 6 months now. So what I did was I took a situation on this change of request, instead of implementing a cost to that, having it done at no cost.
So that's the savings to the district.
Correct.
Go ahead and do it now. If we waited 6 months and you say, okay, we can do it, but, you know, you missed that window.
Right.
Because we're having to spend more effort to negotiate that extra lease. Am I correct?
Yes. So, I mean, the savings is there. That's why numbers speak for themselves. You save about $13. That's not even including the savings that you'll get from the barcoded items.
But everybody would provide that, other providers.
No, they can't interface that with the meter.
Yeah.
Everybody else has to
With their
actually...
with their own equipment.
Huh? No, not with their own equipment. They actually will invite, you know, a different vendor to, and it doesn't even really interface with it. It's a separate system that operates on its own.
So
with Pitney Bowes, we're the only company that actually has that barcode label, the software inside the unit, and the keyboard to where it interfaces directly to the meter with USPS.
And comparable to the input, so that way when we are setting those bills, automatically give us the opportunity also, you know, to email or bill wherever it is needed. And that way also we save money when we email and
And not use the metered system.
Right.
Yeah, so that's interfaced within the software here, so it gives the district the opportunity to take and either send it on a stamp or meter stamp, or go ahead and email it?
Email
That
it.
way, like, for example, a customer comes, they don't give us the right address, that system verifies the address before we send it to the post office, because otherwise the post office will reject it.
Incorrect, it has a Verimove that gives you, or, now it's unlimited, but, at no cost,
Is
but...
a normal 6-month or 5-year agreement, is that standard?
All cities, counties, and school districts do the 60-month agreement. Yeah.
And do we have the opportunity, as this goes along within that 5 years, that when something better comes along, will Pitney Bowes upgrade the district to?
Yes, go ahead though. Through buy board though, gives you that ability to cancel the contract also. That's the other. So buy board, you're in
The
contract, but you're
non-appropriation
not in
clause,
contract.
yeah.
So you come
It
up
goes
and say,
both ways.
okay, so just like the barcode or the meter change and all that, then if the district or
Yeah,
y'all say there's a better opportunity, we say, we're done.
Well, the
and we
nice,
get a new agreement.
well, the nice thing about, Pitney Bowes software, any software updates, we provide that for you at no additional cost. So any improvements to the current system, so this is the latest technology that's out there now. I mean, that's what you're getting, something very brand new, the P-Series, that we spent the money to cancel the Connect Plus series, which you have right now, because of these postal regulations that are coming out. Now you have a system that can actually accept software and
So
keep up with these regulations that the post office is coming up with.
Now, that new equipment, or are you going to provide it with this agreement?
No, the new agreement has the new equipment that is allowing the software to be downloaded into it.
I'm satisfied, thank you.
I'll move to approve.
Motion made by A. Avalos for approval,
Second.
seconded by R. Wells. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, Sanford.
Thank you.
Moving to item number 27, consider and approve write-off accounts for the fiscal year 2016 through 2017.
I have just one question. I recall this last year, and there was some conversation about some of the bigger accounts, and we asked at that time, you take the small claims. Are these last three on our second page, the bigger accounts that are indicated there are small claims? Have they gone to small claims, or will they go to small claims?
We're gonna send this one to
So with our action, we will also approve, send them to small claims.
Did
What
we
was?
collect those from last year?
Yeah, that's the question.
From last year, we're still collecting, we're still collecting. They're being small, but they're being.
So you got, small claims court gave the district a judgment.
We have to go to the small things because, like, we have to send them a letter for 10 days, they have to respond within 10 days, and if they don't, then I have to go and present it to the judge.
But I'm talking about
If they
last year.
respond,
Last year, you went through all of that, and you said they're paying a little bit. Was that the small claims court agreed to go ahead and award a judgment to the district?
No, we didn't have to go because when she did the last call, before,
They agreed to do their own payment schedule themselves. Okay, so we didn't, so they didn't walk away, and the district is recouping those funds. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by D. Wells, seconded by A. Avalos. Are all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you very much. I just questioned the account number one on there was the only one I just don't understand how that happened. But
we've done what we can, and we're gonna go pay, and we're still waiting, so.
Okay.
That doesn't
You wanna
mean
add
it
up this
won't
one,
come.
no, it's a small amount, but I know. Number one is just what, it's an existing business, so I just was always wondering.
Taken over by somebody else.
Oh, okay, that's what I didn't. Very good. What's that?
That explains it.
Moving on to item number 28, consider and approve the disbursements for August 16th through 31st, 2017, and September 1st through 15th, 2017. Has everyone had a chance to review the disbursements? Any questions on any one in particular? Otherwise, I ask to approve them all, please.
I had several marks on here. I'm tired. I move to approve.
Second. Motion made by D-Well, seconded by H. Houston. Are all those in favor? They are. None opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 29, executive session. I would like to table this item. We don't have counsel here, so. Okay. Yes. So, can get a motion for...
Motion to table.
Motion to table item 29 by R. Well, seconded by A. Avalos. All those in favor? All the motion carries. Thank you to the table. Item 30, consider an action to approve executive session. Item table. 31 is adjournment at 7:55 p.m. I want to thank everyone for being here this evening. It certainly was a nice long afternoon.